a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Post Malone. Austin Richard Post, known professionally as Post Malone, is an American rapper, singer, songwriter and record producer. Born in Syracuse, New York and raised in Grapevine, Texas. Malone began his musical career following the release of his debut single, White Iverson, in 2015. The song, which peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 and later certified quadruple platinum, allowed Malone to secure a recording contract with Republic Records later that year. Malone released his debut studio album, Stoney, in December 2016, which debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and was soon certified triple platinum. The album also enjoyed generally positive critical success, and contained the top 10 singles, Congratulations, and I Fall Apart. His second album, Beerbongs Bentleys, was released in 2018, and featured the singles, Rockstar, and Psycho. Both would peak at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, while the album opened at number 1 on the Billboard 200, breaking several streaming records. It was soon certified double platinum, and was also highly acclaimed by critics. Malone's soft musical style and contributions to the medium has him credited with innovating hip-hop. Malone has also gained critical acclaim for blending various musical genres, introspective songwriting, and laconic vocal range. Early life. Post Malone was born July 4, 1995, in Syracuse, New York. His maternal grandfather, John Carlo Pavetto, was born in Pennsylvania to Italian parents. He was raised by his father, Rich Post, and his stepmother, Jody Post. Post's father had been a disc jockey in his youth and introduced Post to many different genres of music including hip-hop, country, and rock. When Post was 9 years old, he and his family moved to Grapevine, Texas after his father became the manager of concessions for the Dallas Cowboys. Post began to play the guitar and auditioned for the band Crown the Empire in 2010, but was rejected after his guitar strings broke during the audition. He credited his initial interest in learning guitar to the popular video game Guitar Hero. Post has always had a love for emo music, and appeared for a DJ set at Emo Night in Los Angeles in June 2017, playing My Chemical Romance at the event. According to Post, his very first foray into professional music began when he was in a heavy metal band. Soon after, he says he transitioned to softer rock as well as hip-hop, before beginning to experiment on FL Studio. At 16, using Audacity, Post created his first mixtape, Young and After Them Riches. He showed it to some of his classmates at Grapevine High School. He was voted most likely to become famous by his classmates as a senior in high school. He worked at a Chicken Express as a teenager. He enrolled in Tarrant County College, but dropped out. After leaving college, Post moved to Los Angeles, California, with his longtime friend Jason Probst, a professional game streamer. According to Post, he chose Post Malone as his stage name when he was 14 or 15. The name was rumored to be a reference to the professional basketball player Karl Malone, but Post later explained that while Post is his last name, he used a rap name generator to get Malone. 2015-2017, Career Beginnings and Stoney. After moving to LA, Post, Probst, and several other producers and artists formed the music group BLCKVRD and recorded music together. Several members of the group, including Post, moved into a house in San Fernando Valley together. While living in San Fernando Valley, Austin met First Down of FG. He met First and Rich from FG and Rex Kudo, who produced several of Post's tracks, including White Iverson. Post recorded the song 2 days after writing it. White Iverson is, in part, a reference to the professional basketball player Allen Iverson. In February 2015, upon completion, it was uploaded to Post's SoundCloud account. On July 19, 2015, Post released a music video for White Iverson. The single received praise from Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa. However, the song was notoriously mocked by Earl Sweatshirt. After hitting 1 million views within a month of releasing White Iverson, Post quickly garnered attention from record labels. In August 2015, he signed a recording contract with Republic Records. Post subsequently worked with a number of prominent rappers such as 50 Cent, Young Thug, and Kanye West, among others. In August 2015, he performed at Kylie Jenner's 18th birthday party, where he met Kanye West, who enjoyed his music, leading to him collaborating with Post on his single, Fade, from his album The Life of Pablo. Post later began his friendship with Canadian singer and songwriter Justin Bieber, which led to Post being an opening act for Bieber's Purpose World Tour. On April 20, 2016, Post premiered his new single, Go Flex, on Zane Lowe's Beats One show. On May 12, 2016, he released his first full-length project, a mixtape, titled August 26, the title of which was a reference to the release date of his debut album. On June 9, 2016, Post made his national television debut on Jimmy Kimmel Live, performing Go Flex. In June 2016, XXL editor-in-chief Vanessa Sutton revealed Post Malone was considered for XXL's 2016 freshman class magazine cover, but she was told by his camp that he wasn't paying attention to hip-hop so much. He was going in more of a rock/pop/country direction. However, Post denied these claims, explaining that his latest mixtape as well as his upcoming album were both hip-hop. In August 2016, Post issued an apology for his album, Stoney, being late. It was available for pre-order on November 4, and was finally released on December 9. Post later went on to call the album mediocre, despite the success of the single, Congratulations, featuring Quavo, Post's first top 10 song on the Billboard Hot 100. Peaking at number 8, Stoney also featured the top 100 hits, I Fall Apart, and Deja Vu, featuring Bieber, with the album later being certified double platinum by the RIAA in October 2017. 2017 present, Beerbongs and Bentleys. In February 2017, Post revealed the title of his next project, Beerbongs and Bentleys, and was set to be released in December, before eventually being pushed back to 2018. In September, Malone released the first single from the album, Rockstar, featuring 21 Savage. The song peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and held the spot for 8 consecutive weeks, later prompting Rolling Stone to call him one of the most popular musicians in the country. In 2017, in November, Malone released the official music video for Rockstar, directed by Emil Nava. On February 20, 2018, Malone previewed his new song with Ty Dolla $ign titled Psycho, was released on February 23, 2018, and a tour with 21 Savage was announced. The song debuted at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Post's third entry in the top 10. On April 5, 2018, Malone stated that Beerbongs and Bentleys will be released on April 27, 2018. The same day, he also premiered the song, Stay, during the Bud Light Dive Bar show in Nashville. Upon release, Beerbongs and Bentleys broke the first-day streaming records on Spotify, with 78.7 million streams worldwide. The album was also certified platinum by the RIAA after 4 days and spawned 3 top 10 songs and 6 top 20 songs. In an interview with Billboard in May 2018, Malone's manager announced that Malone was planning to start his own record label and film production company, and Post later won Top Rap Song at the Billboard Music Awards for Rockstar, featuring 21 Savage. Post confirmed in June 2018 that he was writing his third album, and confirmed that a festival will be taking place, organized by him, titled Posty Fest, in Dallas, Texas on October 28. Post promised a blockbuster lineup with headliners like Travis Scott. In August, Post broke Michael Jackson's 34-year-old record for most weeks on Billboard's top R&B and hip-hop albums chart, with Stoney reaching its 77th week compared to the 76 weeks that Thriller spent on the chart. A collaboration album with Mac Miller was also teased in August 2018. During his appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, he previewed his song, Sunflower, from the upcoming soundtrack to the film Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse. Musical style. Post's music has described as a melting pot of the country, grunge, hip-hop and R&B, and Post himself has been described as versatile. His vocal style has been described as laconic. John Caramanico at the New York Times described Post as an artist who toes the line between singing and rapping, and hip-hop and spooky electric folk. Malone himself has called his music genre-less. Post cites Bob Dylan, in whom he became interested around the age of 15, as an influence on his music, calling him a genius and a god. Though his music has been called about as far away from rock and roll as you can get, he called Subterranean Homesick Blues the first rap song. He has a tattoo of Dylan as well. Post has also listed rappers 50 Cent, whom he called a legend and Key, as influences. Controversies. Malone has been described as the Donald Trump of hip-hop by executives at Republic Records, who state that things that should have killed his career have only made him bigger. He has also been described as a rich kid whose parents essentially paid his way into music. Malone has been called a culture vulture multiple times by different publications and on social media for appropriating African American culture. California rapper Lil B wrote on Twitter in October 2017, "Post Malone is slowly turning into a white dude. Lol, he's pushing it. Give it a few years, he gon' be full country and hate blacks lol." With Post replying in an interview, claiming that his white skin has been used against him. In January 2018, Post went on an intoxicated rant against people who describe him as a culture vulture. In an interview with GQ several days later, Post said, "There's a struggle being a white rapper." In a November 2017 interview with Polish media outlet Nuance, Malone said that modern hip-hop music lacks people talking about real shit, and added that, if you're looking to think about life, don't listen to hip-hop. He received social media backlash for his comments, including from fellow rappers such as Lil B and Vince Staples. Malone later appeared in a video on Twitter, saying that the reason for his comments was that it was a beer tasting interview, and going on to say that he loves hip-hop. Nuance, however, denied that claim, stating that Malone barely drank at all during the interview. Personal life. Post currently lives in Los Angeles, California. He also has a multi-million 13,000 square foot home in northern Utah. Post's old home in San Fernando Valley, California was robbed on September 1, 2018. On August 21, 2018, Post boarded a plane leaving Teterboro Airport and was scheduled to land in London Luton Airport. At 10:50 a.m., the tires blew out on takeoff, and the plane was rerouted to Stewart International Airport for an emergency landing. The plane landed safely at 3:50 p.m. Once the plane had landed, Post tweeted about the incident, writing, "I landed, guys. Thank you for your prayers. Can't believe how many people wished death on me on this website. Fuck you. But not today." Post was involved in a car crash on September 8, 2018. Post's white Rolls-Royce was driving through Santa Monica in the early morning when it collided with another car at 3:30 a.m. Although no one was severely injured in the incident, several people were treated for minor injuries. Tattoos. Post has a number of tattoos that he inked himself and has also inked tattoos on several friends and acquaintances, inspired by Justin Bieber. His first tattoo was of the Playboy Bunny. He has tattoos on his hand and fingers of artists who have influenced him. In recognition of the Second Amendment, He has a tattoo on his triceps of a snake coiled around a rifle. The face of deceased rapper Lil Peep is tattooed on his arm. Post also has a number of face tattoos, including a line of barbed wire across his forehead and an upside-down music note tattooed under his eye. The words, "Stay away," tattooed above his right eyebrow, "Always tired," under both of his eyes, and a dagger on the left side of his face. Political views. Post has a tattoo of U.S. President John F. Kennedy on his arm, and has said that Kennedy was the only president to speak out against the crazy corruption stuff that's going on in our government nowadays. In December 2016, Post stated that if asked to perform at the inauguration of Donald Trump he would not have been opposed, though he stated that neither Trump nor Hillary Clinton were fit for President of the United States, and expressed his support of Bernie Sanders during the election cycle. Post later expressed a dislike for Trump in a November 2017 interview for Rolling Stone. In the same interview, he revealed that he owned myriad guns and believed it was an American right to own and operate guns. He also expressed a heavy interest in conspiracy theories, saying, "There's crazy shit that goes on that we can't explain," during a trip to Canada. Post was interviewed, and when asked what the biggest lie is, he replied, "The biggest lie in the world is the US government. It's a fucking reality show. And I think there's gonna be a lot of weird shit that happens within our generation that really changes the way of the world." Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?